There are a few basic things without which we could not live: food and water. We might add there are other things that are also important: clothing, shelter, a place to live. On a personal level, good relationships, being loved and accepted, participating in family and friendship. For we can eat and sleep well, but without relating to others, we would find life empty. No man is an island, as the poet John Donne wrote. We are all connected to one another. In our first reading, we hear that Elijah experienced the human condition of being hungry and tired. He prayed to God that he had had enough, and he wished that God would take his life. Life had become unbearable for him. But in that moment of hunger and desperation, God intervenes by feeding him food for the journey, a hearth cake and water. The basics: bread and water. And he was satisfied. It was enough to be fed by God that now Elijah can get up, well rested and nourished, and continue on his journey. Continue on his life journey, fed by God and being led by God. Our gospel today continues our reading of the 6th chapter of John. Jesus said, "I am the bread that came down from heaven." And so we have two kinds of food: bread that nourishes only our body, and Jesus, who nourishes us both physically and spiritually. As I mentioned above, we need these basics to live: relationships, companionship, family. We need that to grow fully into who we are as a person. Jesus is both food for the journey and the companion with us on our journey. It's interesting that that word companion is formed by two parts: kam, meaning with, and pan, meaning bread. A companion is one with whom we share our meals. Jesus wants to be our companion in life, the one by whom we are nourished. I am the bread of life. And Jesus wants to be the one who journeys with us. Come, follow me. Yes, it is the will of the Father that we come to Jesus and be fed. I am the bread come down from heaven. Whoever eats this bread will live forever. Jesus draws us to him in moments of hunger. We've often heard, and I'm sure we sometimes said, "I'm starving to death. I'm dying of thirst." Like Elijah, who was both hungry and thirsty, we have experienced the need to be fed. Our bodies cried out for food. How many times have we heard a crying infant who will only be quiet if given some milk to drink? Yes, we become hungry and we cry out to be fed. But that kind of food can only satisfy our physical hunger. It cannot satisfy the hunger of our heart. How many of us have cried out, "Jesus, I hunger for you. Jesus, I thirst for you." Yes, Jesus is not something extra in our lives, but someone who is a part of our daily existence, someone who is our companion in life on our journey to the Father. He is both leading us and nourishing us on our way. I am the living bread that came down from heaven. Whoever eats this bread will live forever. And the bread that I will give is my flesh for the life of the world. The bread and the wine that we receive in the Eucharist is truly the body and blood of Christ. It is not a symbol of Christ. It does not represent Christ. The Eucharist is his real presence in the form of bread and wine. He is our food and our companion. In the same way that the food that he offers us is his real presence, so his companionship is also real. He offers us nothing less than his very self. When Jesus was dying on the cross, dying for you and for me, for all humanity, he said, "I thirst." Do you think he said that because he wanted a cup of water? When Jesus was dying on the cross and he said, "I thirst," he said that because he is thirsting that you and me come to him to be saved, thirsting that we might follow him with our lives, with our families. When Jesus said, "I thirst," he was thirsting that we might come and be fed and nourished by him. Yes, Jesus is hungry and thirsting for us. Are we hungry and thirsting for him? Jesus is longing that we come to him and be fed and saved, that we might wake up from our thirsting for superficial pleasures and our hunger for immediate gratification, and see Jesus is calling us as the way to the Father. Wake up like Elijah from the desperation of being alone and giving up to be nourished by God with the living bread come down from heaven, Jesus himself.